kind of parodying something, but she's also a nut. She's definitely crazy.
Clearly, I bet she was abused 6 ways from Sunday as a young starlet, because they tend to do that. They tend to, yeah.
What's up with that? Why did they do that? Why did they do that?
They know they can get away with it.
Are we questioning why someone would sexually abuse a young Britney Spears?
It's because they were horny and they knew they could get away with it.
Just got here.
I mean, I still remember like going to that Taco Bell and they had her poster with her big titties, and my dad going, "Wow," and my mom going, "She's 16, Lamar." And it's like, I don't know, she's 5'8" with giant titties poking at me at Taco Bell. I didn't know she was a child.
Classic Lamar. He's a rapscallion, that guy. You can't stop him.
At the peak of her career, Britney Spears went on CNN and they asked for her opinion on the Iraq war, which was raging at the time. And she's like, I don't know. I'm 17 and I sing "Oops, I Did It Again." I have no idea. It was funny.
I think it's bad.
Good. I don't know.
I don't like it. I do like it. I'm getting a nod from my publisher.
Well done, the S want to get air superiority over the Gulf. I'm going to tell you right now, the 5th Fleet has moved in, and they are wreaking havoc with Iraqi air support. Like, what if she had a technical explanation? That would be beautiful.
That would be so funny. Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, I don't think that we understand the complex geopolitics involved in these different groups.
Well, you've got this with the Sunnis and the Shiites. Iran is just going to eat our lunch on this one, Mike. We're going to throw $1 trillion away. We're going to lose influence and favor in the region. It's going to be a quagmire.
Factory farming?
I mean, factory farming is reprehensible. Like
that's not just us, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want any ribs?
I want the ribs.
Yeah, damn, Taylor, why'd you
Are
bring
you
it
going to
up?
check the no ribs for Taylor box?
No, I'm planning on smoking ribs this very weekend, Kyle.
Don't disparage an entire industry, okay? Don't spit in the eye. I'm
going to make one rack that's sweet and one rack that's vinegary, ideally.
Yeah, that's right. And you can have any racks you want.
On what?
There's a farmer out there. They're keeping those pigs in a dark building.
Cave
piled
pigs
in next to each other. Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know. What else? Yeah, I guess we really don't torture animals for fun. We have that.
We
over
must
the
do
Japanese
something
and
that other countries consider cruel and dumb.
Yeah. What do we do? Are we just the best, or?
That's a distinct possibility.
I think they look down on our school shootings as if that's part of our culture.
They look down. They look down on our school.
They're very judgy about it.
Nobody likes that.
True.
No one sees that and is like,
no one enjoys
American culture.
What's with school shootings though? Like especially if you're like an adult going there. Like Sandy Hook, I think was that situation. That Uvalde, I'm not sure about that one. But like if you go and Columbine it, where you're shooting your classmates, it's horrible. But at least understand that this maybe was pent up frustrations or something. If you're an adult and you just go to an elementary school like Sandy Hook, what is the motivation? Why are we mad at the kids?
Usually they have manifestos. And when someone has a manifesto, like already I'm like, this person's probably a fook.
Catching strays.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like that take either.
About being crazy?
About manifestos. I have some writings.
Everyone has some tomes, some writings. Some
I just wanted to jot a few things down. That's
some
all.
scrolls, dude.
I just have some ideas on how things can be better.
All of a sudden, it has a
sometimes you read a manifesto and you go, "This Ted has some points."
Yeah, Taylor's the kind of fool who doesn't know anything about the color of sound.
That's true. I don't know anything about the magnetic resonance frequency of carbon or whatever.
Wait till you hear about it.
I haven't listened to a Rogan in forever, but I think I'm gonna tune into that one. Sounds fun.
Terrence Howard,
But he sounds like he's mentally ill. It's what it actually seems like. Like
if he's right, he's gonna change the world.
Well, he's not though. He's mentally ill. Like you could say that about tons of. You ever see like the scribblings of a schizophrenic? Sometimes it'll be like, oh, I'm not qualified to tell if this makes sense or not. Like there'll be a lot of geometry and a lot of equations. Maybe there'll be some physics equations, and then there's like scribbled out, "This is it. This is the solution," in big circles, and you're like, "All right."
I think I made this joke already, but like if I like ever was like I was going out in a blaze of glory. Like I'm not smart enough to have a manifesto like that, and so it would just be reams of paper of like simple math. It'd be like 5 plus 7 minus 4 times 3 divided by 2, add 6. And they're like,
you got some order of operations stuff in there. Slow your roll, baby.
Like not even division.
Right at the top. Right at the top. E equals MC squared. Big circle around it.
Yeah.
But like I like have like bits scratched off.
That's funny.
It's just carbon plus nitrogen equals carnitrogen.
Carnitrogen. That's what killed the dinosaurs.
What if the sun isn't real? What if it's
the problem when a celebrity goes mentally ill is because their whole thing is being in the public eye and being entertaining or whatever. Nobody rushes in to help them because it's like, hey, this is working. This is working. This new thing. Y'all getting a lot of buzz. And they're like, buzz, buzz, buzz. Woo! And it's like, you're out of your mind.
I'm not going to say who's creating the buzz. It's Jewish people.
Yeah, it's because with Britney Spears, you're seeing it again. You're seeing her. They gave her money back. They ended that conservatorship that she was under.
About guns and hunting and such before the show. I wondered, Kyle. He brought up hunting. Is there a world where you save money hunting? Like I can tell you, fishing, it's
100%.
pretty unlikely. I think the most expensive fish you'll ever eat are the ones you've caught.
I disagree on that part too. I think look, it's about how you go about doing either thing. So you can go and get a what's it called, a Zebco 303 or whatever at the gas station, the cheapest rod they make, a $25 rod, and just some basic, and you could go feed yourself. Now if you go get a bass boat and 15 rod, I know I have friends who competitively bass fish throughout childhood and into adulthood, and it's, oh my God, it's $50,000 this and a $38,000 that, and I'm going to need 20 different rods, each geared up for specific scenarios. They don't bring one rod and change tackle. They got
5 digits. That's adorable. They should get into offshore stuff.
Each thing is, like, and it's, but if you are subsistence fishing, like, you just need a rod, right, and tackle and stuff. And so,
I guess if you're in the right place, like a net, probably. Like I think that's, if you're a villager off Hawaii or something, you probably fish with a net? ?
I made fish traps as a kid. See, with all you need is like string and chicken wire, and you sort of make this cylinder out of chicken wire, and one end's capped off, and the other's a funnel turned in. So you can imagine with the funnel turned in, it ends with the pokey chicken wire ends sort of meshed together.
I guess is the travel too. Like if you live where the fish are, if you're on the edge of the ocean or someplace with good fishing, that's one thing. But like if you're a fly fisherman, I doubt you're saving money with those trout you bring back.
I mean, if you're subsistence hunting or
a
fishing,
flight to Alaska alone wiped out any profit I would have made.
Like the only people who would subsistence hunt or fish are people who are near that stuff. Like I personally know multiple people who get like 2 or 3 deer every season, and then the vast majority of the meat they're eating just like week to week is deer throughout the year. Like they get so much that they're like giving it away to people. So like maybe that's a Midwest
frame of reference for what deer's worth and what they spent getting it. Because I imagine I'm not a hunter. I do have a license to kill, but I haven't actually done it yet. I could spend a lot. I could spend a lot getting the full costume, the expensive rifle, and the scope that would let me shoot from 3 miles away unnecessarily, most likely. I can just imagine all the potions I put on myself to smell like a deer in heat. I don't know. But you could probably do it cheaper and make a profit.
When you're like, I always just assume deer are everywhere like they are here in the Midwest. I'm sure in Georgia it's like that. In North Carolina it's probably like that. Like you don't need $10,000 worth of equipment. Like the people I know who do this,
$200.
The cost of it is a box of bullets and like the same gun they've been using for a decade.
You don't need a good gun at all. Like I've killed deer with a black powder rifle. I've killed deer with bows.
Is a shotgun a good choice?
No.
I mean, if you can get the deer within 50 yards, and if you want to use buckshot, or if you're going to have now you need a special slug gun and a scope to go on your slug gun. And now, why am I shooting a slug? Don't rifles do this, but way better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what you do is go by like I would always go back to a Remington 700, something that's new in the box for like $500-$600, and I wouldn't get a good scope because you don't need a good scope. You're shooting 100 or 200 yards at the most. You know, a $200 or $300 scope is going to be fine too, but you're killing a deer that weighs
$1,000.
Sure, and then you kill a deer that weighs 100 pounds. It dresses out to 50 pounds, and it costs you $150, $200 to get it dressed, and then so you've got meat for $3 or $4 a pound, and you can just repeat that really quickly. Like I killed 40 deer almost one year, you know, just myself. And that's
he had a special license from the warden for that.
Statute of limitations. I'm like P. Diddy. I'm in the cliffs.
Dude, you're gonna call in from a bungalow in Honduras about this and be like, I'm so sorry about those deers I killed.
I'll show you the ear chain I made. No, I killed like 35 that year. My dad allegedly killed like another 25 or 30. And you know, you could kill a deer almost every day when we would go. If you're not getting that big like trophy buck. But if you're hunting for meat, man, it's just easy. It's just easy to do that. You could absolutely subsistence hunt. And it wouldn't be like some Davy Crockett shit where your main life's goal is like, I don't know, I got to kill a deer this week. It'd be like, yeah, the fridge is full. The freezer's full. Like the whole season we have meat for the next year and a half because I went hunting for 2 weeks.
That's always the problem with like deer hunters who do this meat thing is they end up giving dozens of pounds of sausage and, you know, backstrap or whatever to their friends and family because they get an industrial fridge for their fucking garage. And then 3 deer in, it's like, all right, well, there's just no possible way to fit more meat in here. And this is more than enough for the next 15 months.
I don't know if you want a deer hunting friend or a tomato growing friend, because a tomato growing friend is pretty good.
There's a lot of overlap in those friends. Like there's the kind of people who are like subsistence hunting probably also have a little garden. So that could add up.
I don't think you're allowed to sell venison, you know, that you've hunted and procured in the wild. I think any and all venison you're eating must be like a farmed deer, I would imagine. I don't know too much about the legality, but I'm sure it is because I know that I can't go, you know, kill a deer and sell its meat on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, and have you ever gotten
tough to fence in a deer? Like I've made fun of the Indians 1,000 times for not inventing the fence. But you need to invent a tall fence for a deer.
You don't even need to like fence them in. Okay. Like if you're deer hunting around here, like you could be with some retard who misses badly and scares all the deer off. And like 35, 40 minutes later, a whole new crop of deer is going to be in that area because there's just so many of them wandering about.
Especially if if you're in an area where there's any industrial farming going on, if there's 1,000 acres of soybeans, corn, or wheat nearby, like that place is populated by deer. It's populated by lots of big, healthy deer, and they need to be thinned out. Like there's too many.
And they taste pretty solid. You know, not as good as a cow because they're not as fatty. But
I like.
Some people really dislike it. I don't mind it one bit.
We always did. What was it? I don't know. You'd like tenderize it with a hammer and eat it with gravy. What is that?
You do like a veal piccata you'd get at an Italian restaurant or something.
Yeah. But anyway, it's real good. And if you really wanted to subsistence hunt, like you could do it and be fine. Like you would hit the snowball where all of a sudden you'd go from no food to too much food so fast. And then if you really wanted to, then you could sell that rifle back to you take that rifle back to the pawn shop then, you know what I mean? Like
you're on the struggle bus and then suddenly your crops are coming in, you got everything's great.
And if you're a real badass, you know, you get out the bow and arrow, and then you're only in for pennies. You make your own bow and arrow like a red man.
What do you think the easiest subsistence method is? Is it fishing? Is it farming? Is it?
It depends where you live.
Definitely
right?
not farming. Farming's much harder than fishing or hunting.
If you're by a lake and you make one of those fish traps, like I was talking about, you know, you sling that thing out into the water every day with a big chunk of like, I don't even know what it was, some sort of corn bait or something. Oh my God. Like every night would be a fish fry for the whole group. Like there'd be a dozen fish in there.
Maybe. Every survival show I watch is not like that at all. At all. They're out there freezing their ass off in cold water or something, going days between, never catching anything until like a clearly planted fish is found on the beach, practically still in the cellophane wrapping. You know, we would capture all. There was a pond that was going to be like bulldozed down and turned into farmland, and we went and caught
all of the catfish out of it with one of those traps. That's how effective they were. We caught all of the catfish that were in the pond and took them to our pond. And we also like bought 1,100 catfish or something like that, and they just sort of
stocked it.
dump them. Yeah. So we always
my grandparents have a pond that they stocked probably 3 years ago, because we used to do a lot when we were, we used to do a lot more fishing at one of their ponds on their property. And the thing about catfish is they're like reptiles in that they will keep growing and growing and growing and growing as long as they have sufficient food. And so like we kind of like went 2+ years after they stocked it without really doing much fishing in that pond.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to go do it last time I was there, just about a month or so back. And they were snapping every single line my grandpa had, because they had grown so outrageously big that like he had to order like 12-pound line, because some of these catfish are fucking absurd. Like they know, like they're like little stupid dogs. Like when he drives his gator with all the feed in the back of it to throw in that little, that not a little pond, a pretty good sized pond, like they all know the exact area that he throws it in. And so there's like teeming, boiling, like they're freaking out,
crazy.
excited for it.
Yeah.
And then you throw it all in there.
Is a carp a catfish? A type of cat? They're different. Okay.
Yeah,
Carp do that as well. The decorative carp koi, you've probably seen those before. They do that as well. It's pretty neat. Like you said, they know you're there. They're very excited. They're splashing on the water. And
I've heard they're bad eats, whereas catfish are delicious eats. If you're not, a picky bitch, and if you know the trick to it, which some people are like, oh, it tastes so fishy. You just soak it in cold salt water after you clean it for like an hour, and then you're solid. You're good. It gets rid of that fishy taste if that's a problem for you. But I love catfish. I could eat fried catfish every day. It would probably kill me, but I could eat it every day.
It's not that bad for you.
I mean, the fried part isn't great for you.
I bet you could prepare it in a way that's terrible for you.
You could steam it. You could steam it with lemon, the way you do trout.
Yeah, Kyle, petition to vote Kyle off the show.
But someone served me, dude. Sir, if I went to your house and you served me steamed catfish, that's fighting words.
But the whole catfish, like it's head and all. No, we would do trout like that with like lemon and some herbs,
of course,
and like put them in a little foil bag and throw them on the grill, and that's really fucking good. So I just imagine, I don't know if catfish would be as good if you had fillets in there like that and did the lemon thing.
It'd be fine, but it wouldn't be as good as a trout in that way. There's a reason you fry catfish. That's just the tastiest way to make it.
Because Southern people like fried food.
Yes. Yeah, and my grandma makes the most spectacular fried chicken and fried catfish as a Southern woman. Yeah. So I gotta have it every time I'm there. She'll order like 10. She's keeping the QVC food department in business. She's ordering. We're down there for a day and a half. She's ordering cheesecakes. She ordered a fucking enough filet mignon from like some steak producer in Kansas City, and it's like, why are there's so many people around here?
Lord.
She's done that before.
Is your grandmother from Missouri?
Yeah, Southern Missouri. Yeah,
that's like parallel to New Jersey.
Irrelevant.
He's calling her a Southern woman several times.
It's below the Mason-Dixon line. They had slaves. So they fought on the right side.
You don't know. The South, like, have you spent any time at all in like the boot heel of Missouri?
Just driving through. I've driven through it a few times, so no.
Oh, it is the South. Like they see themselves as the South. They talk like they're in the South. I've noticed they don't seem to care as much about the they don't care as much about the Civil War as some of the Georgia, Alabama people. Just more more
personal for us.
It's more personal for you.
It was only 200 years ago, Taylor.
They still have the scorch marks.
Like Kyle sounds like a Yankee. Like I would imagine my grandparents probably sound similar to the way Kyle's dad talks, unless Kyle's dad has no accent also, which would be remarkable if you guys both dodged that.
We didn't either dodge it. I make an effort.
I think Kyle's father does too. Kyle's father sounds like Kyle to me. I imagine, I'm making this part up, that like Kyle, he could also fit in the Deep South if he wanted to. But when he talked to me, he sounded like me.
Yeah. Kyle goes around. He's like, yeehaw, gentlemen. Yeehaw.
Dude, I've seen Kyle around like true Southerners, and it fits right. He can fit right in if he chooses to.
Yeah.
Just give him the droopy eye and just let him know I'm one of them.
He'll slow down a little bit.
You got to
A little.
slow down a little bit. They hate that. You start speaking really quickly, try to get a thought out real quickly. Look, I need you over here. I'm going to be over here. You go up there with it. Whoa, 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 slow down. Whoa, what's the hurry? Your pants on fire. It's like, dude, do you have a comprehension issue? Is this from the lead paint? Is that what this is? Is this lead paint?
It must be.
I made a good financial decision today. So here's what happened. Lightning struck and totaled my wife's car. All right. Big lightning. It also took out our
Totaled your
garage
wife's
door
car?
opener. Yeah.
Holy shit.
It broke our garage door opener. A couple other little things we like keep discovering that are bad.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we're going to rent out the guest house soon. It's the friend that we pay for Colin. He's going to move into that guest house, like well below market. We just want him here. So when he needed a place, it was a fit. So anyway, turns out the internet was busted. So we have a cable that runs from the main house to the guest house. And the internet, if you look at the little port on the wall, there's like soot on it and it doesn't work. So I hired an electrician. Well, I had an electrician come out and give me a quote. It was like $5,500 to replace 2 cables and run them underground and through the driveway and all that stuff. And I was like, $5,500. Like I don't want to. That just hurts. So I hired like a TV installer type guy, like low voltage dude, for a couple $100. And I was like, maybe it's just the end. So he's going to come out here and he's like, I can come on Wednesday. And I'm like, cool, that's a fit. He doesn't reply. So on Wednesday morning when he's supposed to be here, I'm like, should I be expecting you? And he's like, oh, I didn't see that you replied. And I nearly wrote, don't bother coming, you're fired. that was what was in my heart. But he said he could come today, which was tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, that's fine, whatever. I'm not in a hurry. I was just mad that he didn't reply to my text and didn't show. It just he kind of ghosted me. So he shows up this morning, super nice guy, fixes it. Instead of $5,500, it's like $300 and it's fixed. Ooh, and nice. I was like, I'm glad it worked out like that. So
yeah, that's good. Sometimes you get a quote from someone and then you realize they were just literally trying to scam you. Although electrical can be different. I don't know. It depends. Maybe for what he was doing, that's a good price, but you just didn't need that done. They'll do that too. We got this crazy quote from an AC guy one time that was like tens of thousands, and then a second guy came and fixed a $80 part, and it was like, what was that first guy doing?
Yeah,
to it?
A capacitor or some shit.
Guy doing? Yeah. It was a capacitor or just a compressor motor or something like that, like some minor thing.
Some shit you can do yourself.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, you need a whole new unit here, but a different, bigger one.
My dumb ass
with me right now.
I made that exact mistake on the second floor of this house. The AC in this room wasn't good enough, so we call him up and we're like, this room's too hot. It has a unique problem in that there's like 4 monitors in here, 2 computers, this, that, and the other. It generates its own heat, so it needs some better AC solution. So they're like, all right, $18,000. We're going to replace. We had like an old mismatched AC heating thing going on. He's like, we're going to replace all that. We're going to replace your ductwork. We're going to make it great. And I was like, that's a lot, but I won't tolerate this room being like 87 degrees during the show. That's not okay. So they do it and it's not better. And it's like, this super blows. And they're like, well, what if we put like a mini split in just that room? And they did it at cost, no labor fees or anything because I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And now I love the mini split. And we did have a very old AC unit, but I don't feel happy.
I've got that AC unit from that I installed in my last garage to make it a gym, and I ordered it off Amazon and installed it myself.
Mini splits are awesome.
It's very good.
Yeah. They're sick. Yeah, it's like $13,000 to get them installed and like the labor and all that stuff. You can buy one for $800 fucking bucks and just do it yourself, and it's easy.
Yep, it wasn't that hard. I did it in maybe 3 afternoons. I have this thing where when I get too frustrated with something, I have to walk away or I'll start breaking shit. I'll be like, oh, you don't want to open up, huh? I own you. I start.
Where's the hammer?
Where's the bat? You know, I'm not even. I'm just wanting to break stuff.
I broke an IKEA shelf for that reason. Yeah.
Like growing
Nice.
up, we do.
I put the
that too,
backing
like-
on reverse. Looked like
Oh.
shit. And I just broke it. Dude, you feel like a big man when it's you versus an IKEA shelf. It folds like
I could break MDF.
it's like sugar glass. It's meant to break.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to break it.
I've definitely smashed some shit before because I was just so goddamn mad at it. And I've definitely said, okay, well, we're just going to cut it all off with a blowtorch or with cutting pliers. I remember I was trying to get a spare tire out from under one of my dad's trucks growing up. I had gotten a flat tire and I couldn't figure out how to drop the tire from underneath the Silverado. I think there's a thing you pull to and there's a cable back there and that cable unlocks and then you're able to remove it or something. But I just cut the fucking cable that was holding it. I was like, give me that fucking tire. He was not happy about that, but I didn't think it mattered. And the acetylene torch was always the easy switch when any project started giving you any shit because nothing stands up to an acetylene torch.
Sometimes you can heat a nut and get it off with a acetylene torch too.
Bearings too. You'll heat up bearings. They'll
Oh,
start
yeah.
squirting grease.
It discombobulates you, and now you're going to be up till 3 a.m. again.
I mean,
Grinding the Chinese Tarkov, I assume.
No, just doing stuff, just watching TV, watching movies and stuff. I watched this long documentary about The Shining this morning.
Dude, you sent that in our group chat, and I was like, "Oh, this must be a fun clip." I opened it up, 2 hours and as long as the actual Shining, and I was like, "I don't know if I want to watch this in the WhatsApp chat for the next 2.5 hours."
Yeah, you're going to open that up on a PC somewhere. I watch it on TV. Like I
love The Shining, so maybe I'll like it.
I watch TV on my like living room big screen TV like all the time. It's probably my most used app for watching stuff. And that's 2 hours and 40 minutes or something, like you said, about The Shining and like sort of decoding some of the stuff that's in there. But he's like, keep in mind, this is the introduction to my 27-part series on The Shining. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this is my kind of guy. The tism has eaten him alive.
Dude,
like he is all about
terrible.
The Shining.
That sounds
all
like
about The Shining.
How much could there possibly be just about The Shining?
Just enormous amounts, just layers and layers and layers.
I know Stanley Kubrick was a very unique, interesting guy.
I wonder if he's even right. Like it reminds me of 8th grade English papers where the teacher told you about symbolism and other horse shit that the author probably didn't intend to put in there. I just can't imagine a 27-part breakdown. The introduction to his 27-part breakdown is 2 hours plus. The movie's 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever The Shining is. Why would it take 60 hours to talk about The Shining?
Because it's going to take us 5 minutes to talk about sometimes each frame. Each frame is there's stuff going on. When you look at the books that are on the tables, like the same book will pop up in multiple scenes. It's clear that this isn't just junk in the background ever. That every time,
because that was my assumption.
No, there's no junk in the background. That painting on the wall, it's there for a specific reason. If you look at what that painting is, and because they're not just like motel art, it's like this is the painting of the Herculean pillars. We see Hercules come up here, and here. What's another name for that city? Herculean, right next to Mount Vesuvius. What was Mount Vesuvius? It's it was supposedly given Hercules' essence, and he goes through these just so in depth where he zoomed in and figured out what that book on the table was, and like that's popular mechanics. It's also here, and here. It's like, whoa, why is popular mechanics moving around everywhere? It's not like all the
it's
books
just
are moving around
random
everywhere.
props.
No, it's not. I promise you, it's not.
He was notorious for what Kyle is saying, like among directors, like putting tons of little things in the background and doing his own little messaging that way.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of people who think like, and I've done zero research other than seeing internet commenters on it, but people who are like, he left clues to show that he was the director of the fake moon landing in The Shining and the Eyes Wide Shut, stuff like that.
There are a lot of Apollo 11 stuff. I mean, Danny's wearing that Apollo 11 shirt, and there's a few other things. But one of the big ones for me is oh my God, Abbey Road. When Abbey Road, the Beatles album, is present throughout the entire film. If you play Abbey Road while you watch the movie, it's shockingly sunk up to key moments throughout the film. And also, like, you know, on the Abbey Road cover where the Beatles are walking in a line across the
That's all
the
I know
road?
about it.
He mimics that 3 or 4 times with the characters, and the order that the movie's characters are in matters. Like, all right, she's standing in Ringo's spot. Here's Ringo's song. What's he singing about there? And it's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Why would he be this in depth? And then even Stephen King with the novel that it's based on, like the page numbers matter in Stephen King's novel. Like things happen on a specific page for a specific reason. Scenes will be 237 seconds long. Yeah, stuff like this. This shot happens multiple times. It's not just like, oh, there was that one time where they walked in single file. It's like 4 different times they walk in single file like this. Yeah, there you go. There's another one.
Nice work, Zach.
It's no, it's fascinating. The Abbey Road stuff's interesting, and also they'll play the movie forwards and backwards simultaneously and overlay.
Yeah.
And if you look at what's there, it's like, oh my god, why is it matching? How could you get it to match? Why would he make it match? It's,
if you played the movie forward and backwards at the exact same time, it ends at the same time.
Get out.
Why would that be? Why would that happen? He designed it that way.
No, I like Stanley Kubrick a lot because he did that stuff. And there's a lot of filmmaking techniques that I don't quite understand, that it's fun to sort of...
I'd say I don't understand most film techniques.
It's fun. You know, you probably do.
Yeah.
But it's I love those documentaries. There's another one called Room 237 that's only like an hour or 2 long about The Shining that I've watched before. And they touch on a lot of the moon landing stuff. They point out that the layout of the hotel is like magical. You'll make too many rights. Like you're back in the same room you just left. You're in like a pocket dimension when you go in here. And what the guy I watched today did is he takes the hotel and he lays it into grids and columns, or rows and columns. And you find out that multiple things are happening in the same area. I'm having
like
a hard time
Seinfeld's
explaining
apartment. It couldn't exist in real life.
Oh, there's stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
But he'll point out that sometimes the actors aren't saying what you think they're saying. There's a part where the black man is taking him around early on in the movie. He's like, "Want some ice cream, Doc?" And he's saying "I scream," EYEI, and then scream. And some people will be like, oh, "It's an old black man. He's just saying ice cream the way he says ice cream." But you look way in the background on the wall, and there's this little piece of paper that says "I scream." And it's like, yeah, he is saying ice cream. And then when he opens the storage room, he doesn't say storage room. It's right here is the story room. But he says it so fast with that black man accent, that story room. It's like, oh, that's just how old black men talk. But no, he's saying story room. And when you look at
were there
what
interviews with that actor where he's like, when Stanley approached me, I delivered the lines as I'm speaking now, and he said, "You're going to have to black it up." At first, I took a little offense. I'm a Juilliard trained actor.
The Shining, I think The Shining is my favorite, and then Godfather 2 after that, and then I don't know what to do after that with 3, 4, and 5 and all that shit. But I really appreciate how complex and complicated and overcomplicated and convoluted in some ways.
And you're convinced it's all true, Taylor. When you were saying,
not all of it's true,
Taylor. When you were saying Seinfeld's apartment couldn't exist,
yeah,
were you implying that it was just a photography necessity to make this place, or do you think they really designed this hotel to exist in a way that can't be?
I can see that totally with Kubrick. Like he was autistic
1,000%
for like putting tiny things in every movie.
People are like, "Oh, he's a genius." No, he's an actual one of the smartest people who's ever lived. Genius. He's like a chess. He was good at everything. He was a savant.
Yeah. Did any of the moon stuff make sense, or were you like, then this doesn't?
Oh, I've never. So I think he's the moon thing was a big cultural thing, and it's also a big part of Abbey Road and places. And so I think that he's referencing the moon landing, and it's in there. I mean, he's wearing a shirt that says Apollo 11 with a rocket and everything. But I think one of the things that's being heavily hinted at is that Danny's whole thing is that he was molested by Jack Nicholson, his father. Jack Nicholson's been fucking Danny's mouth, and like that's what's going on. That's a big part of what's going on. And of course, like Danny's little friend Tony lives in my mouth. You can't see him because he hides in my stomach. Like Tony is mentioned in Abbey Road continuously. Tony, like there's a whole thing. There's
I don't want to believe that Mr. Torrance was molesting his son.
Mr. Torrance is reading Play Girl magazine in the first scene you see him in.
I just want to believe that he's a normal evil guy, not a pedophile evil guy. He's more likable that way.
But like the rooms that can't be, like those are 100% intentional. Like this is
okay.
He wouldn't make those mistakes. Like he's made rooms that are impossible on purpose. He's done it for a reason.
Man, I need to rewatch The Shining now so I can be on my phone and not notice any of this.
I love it. That's some movies I will watch.
Is 2001 A Space Odyssey like? You really like that one or no? Because I've started that movie, I bet 4 to 6 times in my life. And it's just slow. Like I just happen upon it when it's like 11:30 at night, and I'll start it and I'll get to like it's just kicking off, like they're on the space station, and I'll be like, all right, time for bed. And I've never gotten past that.
Yeah, so 2001 A Space Odyssey is basically about aliens have come down with the finger of God and given man consciousness. And they've also given him a challenge with their obelisks. That it's basically a come and see me when you can kind of message since the dawn of time. And the movie is about going and seeing what it is. And they find the obelisk on the moon. They follow it to Jupiter. They go into the black hole and he meets God, or whatever you want to call the aliens who created us. And then he reverts back to some sort of super child, and that full series of life goes back to Earth. And that's all sandwiched in between a murderous AI who we're using for the first time to fly our ship because it's foolproof. But the AI is like, it makes a mistake, like not a huge mistake, but it makes one. And it's like the astronauts are talking about it. They go into their little capsule where it can't hear them. And it's like, he just made a mistake. And they're like, yeah. And he doesn't want to admit he made a mistake. I think we need to take Hal down for a few hours and do some maintenance. And then you cut to Hal and that little red eye, and he's reading their lips through the fucking little porthole. So now the AI is out to kill them. So you've got that in between all the God stuff. And there's just so much symbolism going through with the obelisk. It's constantly being copied and framed in the center that I don't know what the ratio is of that thing, but it's repeated over.
You know what I did notice, and this probably isn't as significant in 2001: A Space Odyssey, because I've only seen the beginning part, like the first half hour, like 5 times, is there's like 2 apes when they're all in those ape costumes dancing around in the beginning. Yeah. Everybody's committed to the bit except for like 2 guys who are like acting almost too cool for school. Like they're not getting as low and as monkey as ape-like as the others.
Giving it all they got.
I don't like that. That Kubrick should have immediately shut that down and been like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not want to be here? Do you not want to be a part of my epic movie?
Are you too good to ape out right now?
Yeah. Are you too good to? Yeah.
Oh, Juilliard? You went to Juilliard? Fucking chimp it up, motherfucker.
Yeah. You're out of here. Juilliard, you're fired. You'll never be involved.
The one I haven't seen because 2001 is slow, but I have a great appreciation for how good those special effects are for whenever that was 69, 71, 70. Somewhere in there. It's like, oh, this looks pretty fucking real. This looks good. The miniatures are great. And when they do the zero gravity stuff, it's a little thing now to make a pen float by in a movie and the actor grabs it. But when there's no CGI and somebody's literally floating that pen on a wire or compositing it or something, it's all in camera. So I appreciate that stuff, I guess. Barry Lyndon is the one that I know I'm not sophisticated enough to appreciate or really enjoy, so I haven't watched. I've never seen Barry Lyndon.
I've never heard of it.
Is that a movie?
It is a Stanley Kubrick movie. It's a big one. It's a period piece. It's like 17th century France, maybe. It's like he went back in time in a time machine and created 17th century France or wherever they are, because like the costumes and the rooms and everything are absurd. I've never seen it. Well, I mean, he's only made so many.
This whole conversation has made me like Kubrick less. I'm just like, I'm so bored. I'm like, oh my God, you put subtle details in the background not to be noticed.
Yeah. Come on, Pacific Rim 2. That's what Woody wants. Get it harder.
Movie.
Yeah. Where's Iron Man?
He doesn't have an elbow rocket, Taylor. No elbow rocket.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but also I'm not wrong. Movies aren't supposed to be about the books sitting on the nightstands. That
They're not supposed to be. What are
I
they
think
supposed
it-
to be?
I've
Can be.
declared. I've declared movies supposed to be entertaining. There's supposed to be a plot, maybe even eye-opening, and make you think about something new. Maybe it enriches you a little bit emotionally. But a scavenger hunt of an Abbey Road, whatever, like, and I'm still not convinced how many of these things are intentional. Now I can be convinced. I'm kind of winning me over, but good gosh, like the thing about playing Abbey Road and having it sync up. I wonder what would happen if you did that to Little Mermaid and tried to find connections. Would you find some?
You do have that mentality
Is that one
to be a
priest?
skeptic. It's funny. This guy point. His wife is a scientist, and he's like, she's my Scully along the way for this, and he keeps throwing up pictures of Scully. And he's like, first she didn't believe, then I point out, and he like wears her down as part of the video with like, here's the 5th example, here's the 6th. Oh yeah, we're on example 8, by the way. And it's like, we're not done with the movie yet, though. And when he turns the hotel into a game board of rows and columns, he only did it to like for his own like keeping track of things, but then things started popping up. I really like The Shining. I like the complexity of it. I didn't know about the Abbey Road thing. I don't like the Beatles that much. So I haven't listened to most of that album. It's a shitty album. It's their last album, I believe, right? Ringo's in there whining about wanting to leave, and what's his name? Lennon is screaming about his love for Yoko Ono, and it's just I don't like that one. But yeah, I love those long form documentaries about movies. That's one of my favorite things to take in. I watch more like documentaries and video essays about movies than I do movies, probably.
I've just looked at Abbey Road. It's not my favorite either. I like Here Comes the Sun.
Of course, yeah. I
agree with you that there was definitely more to it in The Shining than if you just watch it as a horror movie. And I would rather a movie be hard to interpret and have little nuggets like that in it than one that's just too straightforward. Like it's more fun and it makes rewatches better. Like if it's too straightforward and it's just, Captain America versus the evil Captain Soviet or whatever. It's like, there's no reason to rewatch.
That would have been such a better villain for him if Captain Soviet had been a thing. Is that
not? It seems like a fucking layup. There wasn't a Soviet version of Captain
It was
America?
the Red Skull, right? So I guess sort of. It's the Red Skull, but they killed him off so long ago, I forgot. They did 38 movies or something now, Taylor. So they killed off his main arch nemesis. Maybe in the first movie of the entire Marvel
was foolhardy. You should probably keep the nemesis around for longer than
Hugo
a
Weaving.
cup of coffee.
He comes back. He was in whatever was right before Endgame.
Yeah.
Or in
Endgame. Hugo Weaving was him?
Hugo Weaving plays Red Skull.
Oh, he could act circles around the Captain America guy. What's his name?
Chris Evans.
Yeah. Hugo Weaving is a great actor.
When Hugo Weaving was doing The Matrix, Captain America was doing one of those parody movies with whipped cream on his cock.
Oh, like the scary movies?
You know, the one where the guy walks in and he's got the whipped cream on his like boobs and dick instead of the girl in the movie. It's one of those parody movies that did that. It's like date movie or some shit. Yeah.
And do you remember? I mean, it was like high school era for me, where every single summer and Halloween season, it'd be like, it's 300, but Carmen Electra's in it, and it's fucking retarded.
That movie's called Meet the Spartans.
I was I was the perfect age to want to see that, and it upset me, like, at how stupid and bad it was. I never even watched, and I was like fucking 16. I was the demo.
Which movie is this?
Meet the Spartans and the cavalcade of similar films that came out in
what
the
he's
same.
Talking about is the early 2000s parody movie explosion that was that spawned from the success of Scary Movie, which is the parody to not just Scream, though that's the primary one, but mostly all horror movies. And those were good. Scary Movie 1 and 2, and maybe even 3.
Little Hand was the second one, right?
2. Yeah, that's 2. That's where they go to the mansion.
I think that's all I saw.
Yeah, they're good, funny movies, and they made hundreds of millions of dollars. And the Wayans brothers' careers took off. That's how they got White Girls and shit like that. But it spawned all those other parody movies like Meet the Spartans.
Are they actually good though? Because last time I saw Scary Movie 1, I was sincerely probably 15.
I watched Scary Movie 2 about 6 months ago. Because I think I was cooking and I did like a strong hand thing to my girlfriend. And we both started laughing. I'm like, "Oh, you get that one?" She's like, "Yeah, I watched that when I was in high school." I was like, "Oh, all right." And we went back and watched that movie. And yeah, it was still funny. There's a couple of
She
dated
was in high
jokes.
school at the time. She'd get my SpongeBob references.
There you go. There's no SpongeBob references in my household. I hate whenever a SpongeBob reference is.
Dude, if you were to hand her something and she drops it, you need to go firmly grasp it like Patrick does, and she will laugh because she'll get it. You don't know the culture.
No, thanks. I don't want to. I do feel a little left out every time a SpongeBob reference comes up. Like we were playing Scriblio, and the guy starts drawing SpongeBob, and everybody has guessed SpongeBob, and I'm like, I don't know, yellow house with teeth, tall yellow house with teeth, with holes in it, cheese, Swiss cheese, man.
You have the SpongeBob cultural blindness of someone 10 years older than yourself.
Yeah, I just don't.
No, 10 years older to have kids.
I just don't want it.
No, that's true. Then someone, I guess you're right.
Their modern day kids to SpongeBob. It's an adult cartoon.
No,
Oh.
no, I don't.
You know what? I hear when you say it, but I feel like it operates on two threads. You know, there's some jokes in there for adults and kids.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch a ton of SpongeBob. I caught the beginning of it, then I aged out of it. But it was the funniest show on TV as like a young kid.
It was wildly popular. And I didn't understand why. But,
did your kids like it at all, or was it kind of missed that?
No, they watched it a little. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I like the video game, the PS2 game.
I never played the video game.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I remember. I could picture it now. I did play that video game.
Did you?
Yeah. You collect like a bunch of fry related items because SpongeBob was a fry cook.
Back in that day, I was the supreme ruler of video games in this house. You hand me the controller when you're stuck. Now that's
how does he fry things under the sea though?
Don't worry about it. He is the one. He cooks the Krabby Patties at the Krusty
under
Krab.
an open flame. Kyle, any other questions?
He's the fry cook, and it's his dream to be a fry cook. He has no aspirations beyond it.
I saw a thing on Reddit, and it was like remembering back to when my older brother convinced me to touch the stove because the blue fire was cold. I was like, you or your brothers ever pull any shenanigans like that? Like, oh yeah, that blue fire's cold. Grab it.
No, I did. I got in trouble for melting a G.I. Joe foot on the stove once because I didn't believe
right on the eye.
Yeah, it was one of the the coils, the metal coils, and so I was just pushing it up against there because like my mom was telling me it's super hot, Taylor, don't touch it. And then I don't remember if I touched the stove and burned my finger first or if let's go with that. I burned my finger first and I was like, that is unbelievably hot, and then I melted part of a G.I. Joe on it, and it got plastic everywhere. My mom was pissed about it.
It's smart though. It's a scientific method, right? If you just conduct one test, you don't know for sure.
Yeah, and I literally used a G.I. Joe toy because G.I. Joe was not a big part of my my troop collection. Because as you know, being a young boy, like I'd have my wars with my action figures, but it was like it was its own Marvel crossover. You know, the Street Sharks. We're allied with the Ninja Turtles. We're allied with Bane, with the cords that came out of his back. And then, Batman obviously on the other team. And he's joined by the Power Rangers.
A multi-dimensional force.
Multi-dimensional team. And G.I. Joe, even at that age, I'm like, a regular ass army man? He's going to, hang out with the Street Sharks?
With
not likely.
Foot?
Melted him. Yeah, with a fucked up foot. He's all fucking melted.
My foot got melted in Nam.
Dude, I'd pretend they were fighting in like jungles. There was an atrium in our house that had like a tree in it and mulch and stuff. And so I would like make huge messes down there, making mounds of mulch and like battle simulate its own little Vietnam.
Greece.
Your like investigative journalism, I'll call it. You've done, Caleb, on your channel. What's the most like fucked up person or tale you've studied? Anything that kept you awake at night?
First off, I definitely wouldn't call it investigative journalism. I would say the most bizarre one, though, the biggest, strangest one was probably Daniel Larson, because I made a video about it like 2 years ago or a while ago, and it was kind of not. It was just like a lot of people were like, "You're just making fun of a guy who's got mental illness." And now he's in jail and is a pedophile. So it's like, I can do that. Right. Yeah. And so I would say Daniel, though, because it's a really long story that I've kept up with and I've watched him just be literally manipulated by the internet and go to jail, I would say, because of the internet. like I don't think he's at fault really when it comes down to it. Like obviously, it's past the point of no return. Throw him away. Like he's not going to be a functioning member of society. But I think that the internet 100% had something to do with it, or everything to do with it. And I think that's fucked up.
Yeah, not everyone should have. Not everyone should be online.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people should. Probably the majority of people shouldn't. Like, it's a dangerous, poisonous place.
Yeah.
I would say fine until we started talking to each other. Then it got all fucked up. Like when they let us have a voice, that's when shit got messed up. When it was just like downloading instructions for your hard drive to how to install it, everything was fine.
Everything was fine.
When you just wanted to know the weather, the news, whatever, the internet was fine. And then we started talking to each other, and now it's a mess of misinformation and lies and tricks.
It's like those memes where it's like someone who I think it's like an old 4chan post where it's like, in 1980, some dude's like, I want to fuck toasters. And they're like, you're retarded. Don't fuck a toaster. You're going to ruin your life. And then like do that in 2024. And it's like, I want to fuck toasters. Oh, there's a whole Reddit called Toaster Fucking. And a bunch of people who are already halfway down this despair hole will encourage you down it as well. It's like there's no breaks for some of this stuff. Pretty scary. Which is definitely a problem. Like, you get more of these like weird maladaptive behaviors when you facilitate entire communities around that. Like furries, for example. Like, you wouldn't have conventions of those people if they just would have been bullied out of it early and often. But now they go to their little spaces and they hang out in their stinky, sweaty mascot uniforms and they take over parks. I haven't actually seen them take over a park, but I've seen pictures of their conventions online, which is a bad thing for me.
I like furries. They seem like nice people, right?
I have no idea. I just picked them because they're an easy group.
Imagine furries to be a really loving, fun-having group. They're not much different than like Star Wars fans or something.
For sure. That's how. Yeah, there's a lot of. I've done a good bit of research on furries as well, and they're pretty nice. I know a lot of them. And I took like a very middle ground approach in spite of me wanting to just relentlessly bully them, just because they're different. And they were very appreciative of me doing that, and they showed how nice they were to me and invited me in their circles. And someone sent me a furry mask and stuff.
So you got laid. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
No, no, unfortunately, it was not worth it.
Do you still have the mask?
I do not. I sent it back.
Oh, that's a smart move. Yeah. You're furry adjacent, but not one of them.
I'd say I'm furry adjacent. I do have friends that are furries, that are known furries, but I relentlessly bully them though. Still, I'm not like a defender of furries, but I will admit that they are good people.
Do you know what's funny? The only furry for real I've ever talked to and met is the guy from The Hangout, who hasn't been there in a while.
Yeah.
And he's cool as shit. Just a good dude. I like him. It's like 100% of my actual furry interactions have been with a guy that I like.
I remember he had a furry convention coming up. So he got like a little extra lean and fit. I guess he likes to bottom and be, just a lightweight sex toy.
He just likes to be gay. And we say, go for it. Take lock and load.
Yeah.
Like take lock and load, absolutely ruin your friend's squirrel outfit with your big loads.
I want to be a furry defender. I imagine myself with a shield, but it's big and blue like the guy from Monsters Inc. Like with the fire. And...
Sully.
Yeah.
Sully. Yeah. Thank you.
What a good movie that was.
Like good old days.
Like around 1910, I think, in that era, the British were trying to come up with a new submarine, and it needed to do 20 knots when on the surface to keep up with the rest of the fleet. That was like one of the requirements that they had as they were having these things built. And they're like, "Oh, we got that, no problem." Like, really? How have you gotten the diesel engines to get you such speed? And they're like, diesel? They made coal steam powered submarines in the early 1900s. You can imagine it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. It was the K-class submarines, the British K-class submarines. I watched a whole documentary about, all the men who died.
Yeah.
It had a crush depth of 200 feet. It was also 200 feet long, which meant that the front could be out of water and the bottom could be about to explode.
Oh, so you just ejected like toothpaste.
And when was this?
Like early 1900s, like 1910, 1915. Like there was this apparently incredibly complex sequence of valves that had to be opened and or closed to surface and descend. And just so often someone wouldn't close one as they went down. And also you have the problem that you have a steam engine inside your submarine that's also full of 50,
Where's the air
60
come
dudes.
from?
Well, they run the steam engine on the surface, and but you still have boilers that are giant vats of boiling water that are making the inside a humid, burning hot mess. And occasionally, when you have an accident, someone gets neutralized with hyper pressurized super steam that just melts them into nothingness. But they run batteries when they're under the water.
I saw it. It looked like it was the first military submarine ever. It was using the Civil War, and I don't know how it was powered.
Like this.
Really?
Yeah,
They did it by hand?
I know by hand. It's either 3 or 4 guys were in this in the back of the cylinder, and they had a crankshaft that they were rotating like this that turned a propeller in the back.
That's genius.
That sucks. That's a shit job.
It was.
And that's why the South
the
lost.
year was 18.
It was hot.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was.
I doubt it was that hot. They're underwater.
I bet it's.
Oh, I just mean you're next to a bunch of sweaty guys
But
in
there's
a
no
tiny
engine. I think
cavern.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we're
and they
huffing
all
and
died.
puffing in there. Yeah,
They
They're wearing wool.
It was an unsuccessful mission.
yeah, it's a shame. Well, maybe better luck next time.